Good morning, everybody. We are going to discuss one of the most important theory of management, that is scientific management. And scientific management is being the theory coined by the Frederick Winslow Taylor, F. Taylor. He is the person who came with this scientific management. Scientific management tells about what you exactly want to do with the man, what exactly knowing what a man has to do, and seeing that that particular activity can be done with the most cheapest way, most affordable way, most best way. So F. Taylor suggested that you have to know your work, and that work can be accomplished in the best efficient way. That is the main objective of the study of this scientific management. He has studied different kind of worker, and he found that the work can be accomplished in the most suitable way, or in the best way, or the cheapest way. And it is an art knowing exactly what you want your men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. You know what your man is going to do, what your worker is going to do, what your employees are going to do, and the work has to be done in the most efficient way, in the best way, so that the cost will be much more cheaper. So that is suggested by the F. Taylor. He is the father of scientific management, Frederick Winslow Taylor. He is known as the father of scientific management. And objective, what is the objective of this scientific management? Objective is to prevent the wastages. Earlier in the traditional management, there is a lot of wastages occur, and the objective of scientific management is to prevent or reduce the wastages, reduce also the cost of production. Cost of production means how much the cost of a particular product. If you are purchasing raw material, the raw material cost is there. If you are hiring the labor cost is there. There are different other cost is also there. So that's why you have to reduce the wastages, you have to prevent the wastages, you also decrease or reduce the cost of production. That is the objective. Then secure the labor in industry. You have to secure the labor. Whenever you require the labor, you have to secure them. You have to get the labor as and when required. Then increasing the efficiency of the worker. So objective of scientific management is to how the efficiency of the worker, the effort of the worker, the contribution of the worker can be enhanced, can be increased. That is the objective. Then develop the relationship between the workers and manager. There should be some good relationship between the workers and management. And in scientific management has given the emphasis or stress how the worker and the manager relationship is improved, has to develop. So that's why these are objective of the scientific management, where you want, whenever you want the labor, you can get them. You have to reduce the cost of production, you have to prevent the wastages, you have to increase the efficiency of the worker, and you have to develop a good relationship between the workers as well as manager. Earlier there were no such good relationship between the workers or and manager. Then what happened? Now in scientific management, the scientific management has told that we should develop a good relationship, harmonious relationship between the worker and management. Then what are the principles of scientific management? The principles of scientific management is very important, and it is being asked in the exam repeatedly. What are the different principles of scientific management? The principle is science, not a rule of thumb. Earlier, whatever the traditional management was there, they are based upon certain rule of thumb, certain hit and trial basis. Everything is based upon trial and error basis. There is no such scientific rules are there. There is no such scientific techniques were there while doing any kind of job or any kind of work. But here in case of scientific management, it is based upon the science. It is based upon certain principle. It is based upon certain techniques, where the old traditional method, where everything has been done haphazardly without anything in aim in the mind. But in case of this scientific management, all the things has to be happen not on the basis of trial and error or hit and trial basis. Everything is happen with scientific manner. That is the first principle and important principle. Science not a rule of thumb. Next one is harmony, not discord. There is a harmonious relationship is being created between the manager and worker. In order to improve the efficiency of the worker, there should not be any kind of conflict or discord in between the workers and employee or worker and manager. So there have to be developed there have to be developed a harmonious relationship, good relationship between the worker and manager, so that that will reflect in the contribution or output. आउटपुट में वो क्या दिखाई पड़ेगा अगर आप अपने वर्कर्स से मिलते हैं, घुलते हैं और गुड रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करते हैं, तो वो अपना आउटपुट में भी दिखाई पड़ेगा. So earlier there was a lot of conflict in between the worker and manager. Okay, there is no such smooth relationship between the worker and manager. But in case of scientific management, there is a harmonious relationship, a smooth and sound relationship, cordial relationship between the worker and manager. Then cooperation, not individualism. Here the there is no such individualism. I is not considered. Here we is considered. We means what? Cooperation from each other. I means what? Individualism. So individual objective is not important. It is the cooperation together, and finally reaching the objective is much more important. So cooperation, having a help to each other, cooperating with each other is important. Coordinating with each other is important. Unitedness is important, and whole together. When all the workers cooperate together, then definitely the objective of the organization is achieved. So there is no such individualism. I is not considered. Individual performance is not considered. The group performance is much more important. Development of each and every person to his or greatest efficiency. In case of scientific management, it has given priority also how an individual person can achieve his greatest contribution or greatest efficiency. Means efficiency means what? How you can able to produce a particular task, or able to contribute your production or output with a lesser cost and with a lesser time. How you are uh, uh, efficient, or how you are contributing at a maximum or greatest contribution, how you are efficient, also judged in case of this scientific management. So development of each and every person to have his or her greatest efficiency. Every worker has to work to the best of their ability or greatest of their efficiency. Then maximum, not restricted output. In case of the scientific management, there is no such restriction of output. A labor or worker can produce to the maximum of output what he or she desires. So that's why there is no such limitation of any kind of output. The output can be produced to the maximum extent in case of this particular worker. So these are all principles of scientific management. First one is science not a rule of thumb. Science not a rule of thumb means all the traditional management is based upon the trial and error basis or rule of thumb basis, where there is no such scientific technique is used. Every work used to be done in a haphazard manner, not in a systematic manner. But in case of scientific management, as suggested by F. Taylor, every work has to be conducted or in a scientific way. So science is considered in the work or in the process. Then harmony, not discord. There should be a harmonious relationship between the worker and manager, and or in between the workers also. Not there should be discord relationship between, or there's not should be a not smooth relationship. It should not be there. There should be a good relationship. There is a happy type of thing should be there in between the worker and manager and worker. So harmonious relationship is important. Then cooperation, not individualism. Cooperation, not individualism, means what? I is not considered. It is the we which is more important. Cooperate to each other. Cooperation between manager and worker. Cooperation between workers is important. Then development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency. Every worker has given enough time or enough scope for to show their greatest output or greatest efficiency of the work to be done in a less cost and less time taking manner. So every worker has given a chance to produce the output in their greatest efficiency. Then maximum not restricted output. There is no such limitation of output in case of scientific management. Every worker can produce to the maximum output, or the output as much as can be produced is much more important. There should not be restriction of any kind of producing output. These are the five important principles of scientific management. Then techniques of scientific management. Work study is there. Under work study, what is that work study? The work has to be studied carefully. Which type of process the work has to go, whenever there is production, which type of process the work has to be completed. So work study means what? The work has to be studied through motion study, through fatigue study, through time study. How much time is taking to produce a work? That is time study. Which are the processes has to be passed by the particular work while producing a product? That is work study, time study, or process study. So there are certain unnecessary steps are there, unnecessary techniques are there, that is completely prevented in case of this scientific management, that is done through work study. Under work study, time study is there, motion study is there. Motion study means process study, where unnecessary works, unnecessary techniques has to be avoided, has to be prevented. Only those techniques which are necessary, those processes which are necessary has to be considered. So that is known as one of the technique of scientific management, that is work study. Then development of functional foremanship. Development of functional foremanship means what? You have to, or you need to appoint different kind of foremen and multiple foremen in different specialization activity. You have to appoint multiple foremen in different kind of activity. Rather than appointing a single foreman, you have to see that in different specialized work you have to appoint multiple foremen. That is one of the important technique of scientific management. Then standardization of tools and equipment. The tools, the equipment which were earlier in the traditional form, that has to be improved, that has to be standardized, that has to be, so it's up to mark, or so is standard. So standardization of tools and equipment. Tools and equipment are very much important for the worker. So it has to be standardized. It has to show certain standard, not ordinary. Scientific selection and placement and training. Every worker, while selected, they have to be selected in much more scientific way. They have to be selected, and while selecting, after selecting, you have to placement. You have to see their placement also, and also have to give training. All the selection, placement, as well as training, that should be on scientific basis only, on scientific mode only. Next one is introducing costing system. The costing system has to be implemented. Costing system means what? You have to use the costing technique while analyzing the cost of a product, how much expenditure incurred by the particular labor while producing a particular output. So earlier the costing system is not introduced in the management. Here the costing techniques are used. Here costing system is used in case of this particular scientific management. Then mental revolution. The outlook of the workers, the mental attitude of the worker has to be improved, and there is a revolutionary change. There is a drastic change in the mindset of the worker. Workers are thinking about their organization. Workers are contributing to their best way. So there is a mental revolution has occurred with the worker. So these are the techniques of scientific management. Under the technique we study the work study. Work study means you have to study the work, whether there is unnecessary works are there, how much output is produced through this work, how much is the flow of the work, is there any kind of process which is just a waste process, it has to be eliminated. Unnecessary blockers should not be there. Unnecessary the tiredness, that is fatigue study, tiredness of the worker has to be reduced so that the worker has to contribute as much as the worker can. Then development of functional foremanship. Under the development of functional foremanship, the organization has to use multiple foremen for different specialized work, not a single foreman for every work. Then standardization of tools and equipment. Under standardization of tools and equipment, the tools, the equipment used by the worker, that has to be improved, that has to be up to mark, that has to be standardized. Then scientific selection and placement and training of the worker. Whenever we are recruiting anybody, whenever we are selecting any kind of worker, they have to be recruited, they have to be selected, they have to be placed, they have to be trained, not in a haphazard manner. They have to be trained or placed or selected in a scientific manner. Then after that, there is an introduction of costing system. How much cost you are incurring, how much production you are making, your contribution, your production, and how much the organization is paying for that. So there is a complete costing system arises in this particular technique of scientific management. Then there is a complete revolution, there is a complete change in the mindset of the worker. They are feeling the organization there, and organizing is for them only, and they are putting their best in the organization, feeling that the organization belongs to them. So these are the technique of scientific management. Then what is the criticism, what is the demerit, what is the limitation of this particular scientific management, what is the problem of this scientific management? The problem is workers are exploited. Worker, whenever a worker is being told you have to produce as much as you can, where machine is not a important, machine is being replaced through men, at that time the workers are being exploited. Workers are being used by the organization more and more, so the workers are treated as machine. So that's why the workers are exploited in the scientific management, that is the criticism came. Then health issues, the health condition, the working environment of the worker was not considered in the scientific management. The workplace where the workers are working, that is not considered. So there is a health issue came in this particular scientific management. Then replacement of machine, as we told that with the main power or human resources for workers are being replaced through machine. So it is what the machine can do, the same thing worker can't do. So there is a mischarge by replacing of the machine with the worker. Then not initiative, whenever you are focusing on the task of producing the same output, you are not in a mood to initiative, so you are not in a mood to develop yourself. So you are not taking any kind of chances to think about the newness or think differently. So the initiative part is over for in this particular scientific management within the workers. Then weak unions. Weak trade union means what? You are working in an organization where all the workers are associated with a particular group, and the group or the team can, whatever the problem arises with you within the organization, you can fight your rights through this particular trade union. All India Trade Union Council you might have been had, that is one of the trade union is there. So whenever the workers are considered more about their output, at that time their personal things are not considered. Even though they are exploited, it is not considered. So that's why the trade union become much more weaker. Then it is an expensive system to workers. So whenever according to the, I think it is according to the employer side, and these are according to the worker side. So last three is belongs to the employer side. Employer is thinking that this is a kind of system which is much more expensive to the organization, and it is the time consuming aspect whenever the scientific things or science is applied in this particular work study, machine study, and there is a deterioration of the quality whenever you are reducing the output where the quantity is much more concerned. then there is definitely the quality is deteriorated. Deteriorated means quality is lost. So these are the criticism. The first four belongs to the worker side. Workers has different kind of thing, and last three belongs to the employer side. So the criticism came in case of the scientific management. So in the examination, that is most important is what are the principles of scientific management and what are its criticism. So this is all about, we discuss about the scientific management, which are suggested by the F. W. Taylor, who is known as the father of scientific management. F. W. Taylor. F. W. Taylor means Frederick Winslow Taylor. He is an author. Then Max Weber's bureaucracy theory. Max Weber's bureaucracy theory. This is another theory of Max Weber. Max Weber is a German person. He is a scientist, German scientist. His name is Max Weber, and his theory is known as bureaucracy theory. What is bureaucracy, everybody? Bureaucracy means it is highly structured, formalized, and impersonal organization. An organization must have defined hierarchical structure and clear rules and regulations and lines of authority which govern it. So, in case of Max Weber, who is a German scientist, according to his theory, the organization is full of rules, full of regulation, full of authority, full of power. That is bureaucracy. There is no such personal relationship. There is no such informal relationship. All the rules, regulation, control, and the governing of the people are made by based upon the organization hierarchy. Who is your superior? Who is your boss? And who are the subordinate? You need to control them. There is no such personal relationship. There is the impersonal relationship is avoided. You have to be strict in your rules. You have to have a autocratic power while dictating the people. If somebody is performing good, you have to give reward. If somebody is not performing good, you have to punish them. This is the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is based upon the rules, regulation. They will not consider, it is not considering the sentiment of the people. Workers' desire is not considered. Everything is based upon the rules, regulation, everything based upon the organization hierarchy. Who is lies above you? Whatever the policy he set, whatever the decision he will set, that is final. You have to obey it. You have to bound to obey it. There is no such lenient type of thing in case of this bureaucracy. Everything is based upon the rules, regulation, and that is clearly defined in the organization hierarchy. कौन किसके ऊपर है, कौन किसके नीचे है, कौन तुम्हें सलाह देगा, कौन तुम्हें ऑर्डर देगा, एंड यू तुम उस ऑर्डर को फॉलो करना तुम्हारे लिए कंपलसरी है. एंड इट इज ऑलरेडी देयर इन योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ऑलरेडी डिफाइंड इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तुम किस तुम्हारा बॉस कौन है, तुम किसके अंडर में काम करते हो. अगर अच्छा काम किए तो तुम्हें रिवार्ड मिलेगा. अगर तुम्हारा परफॉर्मेंस अंडर परफॉर्मेंस हुआ तो तुम्हें ऑर्गेनाइजेशन निकाल दिया जाएगा. दैट इज अ पनिशमेंट विल बी गिवन टू यू. So it is given much more priority to the impersonal, that is not personal, that is formal. What is written in the pen and paper is much more important, not in the way you are chit chatting, the way you are having the harmonious relationship while going to a tea stall, while going to a cafeteria, the way the boss and workers are discussing, chit chatting, and they are doing fun. That thing will be missed in this particular bureaucracy. It is all about the formal relationship, all about the order, all about the rules, regulations, and it is clearly defined in the particular organization hierarchy who is your boss, and you have to obey the order of the boss. Then six major principles of Max Weber. First principle is a formal hierarchical structure. It is clearly defined what is the hierarchical structure, who is above to you, who is below to you, to whom you have to accountable. If you are not following his orders, you are dismissed. So it is a formal, who is the subordinate, who is the superior, and it is clearly defined. That is a formal hierarchy structure. Then rule based management, it is based upon the rules regulation. It is, if are not followed the rule regulation, you are gone. Then functional specialty organization, those who are there in different functional, like marketing function, HR function, then finance function, you have to be there as a worker in that particular specialization only, not in all specialization. Then opposed and in focus mission. Up focus means outside, in focus means inside. Up focus means it serves the person of the stockholder, and it focused also in under in focus, it focused to the internal objective, that is profit maximization. So it is also focusing the external stockholders, and it also serve to the internal objective, that is profit maximization vision. Then impersonal, there is no such personal relationship. Personal means what? The way we are going outside, boss and subordinate going outside, chit chatting, taking coffee, doing fun. There is no such kind of thing will occur in case of Max Weber's theory of this principle, where there is impersonal relationship. Means there is no such chit chat, there is no such fun. Only the boss and the worker relationship is only there. Then employment based upon technical qualification, whenever the workers are being employed, that is based upon not his efficiency, but it is based upon what is his technical knowledge, what is his qualification. So these are all six major principle of Max Weber, that is formal hierarchical structure. Means organization में define है कौन किसके ऊपर है, कौन किसके नीचे है, उसके मुताबिक तुम्हें फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. रूल बेस्ड मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल अबाउट रूल्स रेगुलेशन. ये नहीं करने से तुमको ये पेनिशमेंट मिलेगा, ये करने से तुम्हें रिवार्ड मिलेगा, ये ना करो तो तुम्हें डिसमिस किया जाएगा, ये सब रूल के हिसाब से. सो ऑलवेज देयर इज अ थ्रेट, there is always a fear in the mind of workers. The functional specialty of organization, functional specialty of organization means what? The worker has to be placed in what function he is being specialized. Not every function. If you are you specialize in finance, you have to be there in finance, not marketing or HR. Then up focus and in focus mission. Up focus means what? It is the organization worker has to serve to the external stockholders. Similarly, it has to serve to the internal objective, that is the profit maximization also. You have to satisfy both the outsider as well as insider people. Then impersonal, there is no such personal relationship. Making fun, taking tea outside between the boss and worker together, there is no nothing kind of thing. Everything is based upon the impersonal relationship. Impersonal means which is not personal. Next one is employment based upon the technical qualification. If you are having the technical skills, if you are having the qualification, then only you are being selected. Otherwise, your efficiency, even though your efficiency is there, even though your experience is there, that is not considered in case of this particular principles of Max Bower. This is all about today's story, where we discussed about the two important theories, that is scientific management of F. Taylor and Max Weber's bureaucracy theory. In the examination, what are the principles of scientific management and its criticism? That is most important question so far as in the management is concerned. Thank you.